everybody, Robert Nichols with a daily training video. This video is going to be geared toward little dragons and beginners, although it's beneficial for everybody because we're going to do proper guard and just throw in a basic jab cross, basic hands. So when we're doing this and you start with that proper guard, you always want to make sure that you got one leg comfortably behind you. I say comfortable because obviously you get some kids that'll stand a little too wide, it's a little silly, or if your feet are too close together, they're bunched up, you know, probably a little about shoulders width or a little more than that. The back foot, I like to keep on the ball of my foot. I'm going to turn to the side and back up a little so you can see this. I should be on the ball of the foot. We call this a 3-point stance, okay? As in the ball of the foot and the heel, that's 2 points on my one foot, and then on my other, the ball of the foot, okay, 3. Okay, from there, knees are bent, okay? I want you to think about being a little bit compact, a little down, because from here I can spring forward and back much easier. Elbows are in, hands are up, okay? Traditionally, you always want to think about one hand being slightly ahead of the other one. I always like to make sure that there's one hand on each side, which means if you think about an imaginary line going down the middle of my face, I want one on each. Chin tucked down, all right? So I can be here, all right? So this should be my guard from side to side. It's okay to move a little. It's okay if the arms want to have some movement to them, or if we switch feet. You don't have to lock in and never move, but you are thinking of protecting. Predominantly the head and the face, and then secondary the body, okay? So that way, that's why my elbows are in. Don't stand like this, elbows in. Also, don't stand with your hands right in front of your mouth, because then nobody can understand a word you're saying, okay? So, when we think about doing a basic punch, we'll start with our jab. Our jab is our lead hand, which means if my right leg is back, my left foot is forward, my left hand is my jab. If my feet are switched, my left leg is back, my right foot is forward, my right hand is my jab. So that's constantly changing. It's a very important lesson for beginners and kids to know, is making sure that they've always got that proper lead and they're throwing a jab. So I'm in my guard, my knees are bent, my back foot's on the ball of the foot, my elbows are in. When I do my jab, I'm thinking about hitting with the first 2 knuckles, okay? The first 2 big ones right there, your pointer finger knuckle and your middle finger knuckle, okay? The top ones, not down here. It's not like I'm knocking on a door. For kids sometimes to have some fun and get them to think about what we're doing, I think about giving them a pound, right? So giving them knuckles straight out. When I throw the jab, initially I just want to think about rotating that hand out so those knuckles come out. My shoulders will turn with it. If you look at me from the side, it's not this, okay? It's a rotation to it. I can even move my foot in with the jab and come back out. You know, look at it as you're practicing it perfect. It might not always turn out that way, but we want to practice with proper technique. So when I'm in that guard and I roll that shoulder forward, I can even shift my feet to get that punch out, and I want to keep that backhand in to protect myself, okay, here. So the jab shoots out and comes back, okay? Jab is a very fast move, okay, fast, boom! So when you're practicing at home, a fun thing you could do is this, Mr. Moore. Having fun with your kids. First of all, you don't have pads, you could use a pillow, or to be honest, if you're doing it with the little guys, a bare hand will be fine. They shouldn't murder you, all right? Or maybe they hit really hard. So just work on from here. A couple things you can do. Just work on the jab. Just getting that hit. Okay, notice I'll move my foot in and out, in and out. It just drives me nuts when people stand there totally flat-footed and just go, because that's not useful, okay? I want elbows in. I want that punch to be effective, okay? If you want to make a game at it and have some fun to get them to work on the shoulder and the speed, you can move your hand away when they go to punch. Okay, so they go to punch and he moves his hand. Oh man, I missed. Oh man, I missed. You up, down, side, side, make it a game. Just make sure that they don't move and end up popping in the mouth. I've seen that happen. But now it becomes a game. Okay, right? You gotta move. You gotta move. Don't let me hit you. Oh man, he's fast. Oh, I got him on that one. All right, you can even do it with a high five if you want to just make this fun, silly little game, okay? So then we can think about the cross, the secondary punch. The backhand, the cross punch is slower than the jab. It comes from further away, so it takes longer to get there, but it does generate more power if you do it right. I like to think about, here's my jab, and then when I throw my cross, my hands have to switch, which means this one has to come back in to protect, and I rotate everything into that punch. And when I say everything, I mean all the way from down from the leg, into the knees, into the hip, into the torso, into the shoulder, and it rotates in. So I have one, and then I have that big rotation, that big power punch. If you look at me from the side, okay, if you see how far my jab goes out, if I just stick my arm out there, if I just throw across and I don't use my body properly, That's all I get. Notice my jab is further. I need the cross to gain more distance. That's why I use the shoulder to get a further reach, okay? So making sure that students are going one and then rotating big into that second punch is a big deal. It will be slower. A couple things to watch for. One, make sure they're protecting their head. Don't let them do this, okay? It's a common bad habit. It's normal. They're beginners. Make sure they keep this hand up, protect their head, right? Secondly, don't let them rotate so much that it's, okay? And then third, there's no wind up. It's not, you know, like we see in movies where somebody winds up for this huge punch. If somebody ever does that to you, they have no idea what they're doing, trust me, okay? It should come right, the power comes from that rotation and in the shoulder. So I throw my jab out there, boom, and then when I do my cross, it comes from this rotation here. Okay, I punch straight up, 1, 2, 1, 2. Turn my body every time. If you're holding pads for your kids or even just using your hands, notice that when I throw my punch, my left hand goes to Mr. Moore's left hand and my right hand goes to Mr. Moore's right hand, okay? It's a better habit to make sure that we're rotating on those punches as opposed to just coming straight out, okay? Because then it turns into a game of patty cake and that's not good for any of us. Unless you want to play patty cake at home, that's fine. 1 and then rotate, boom, 2, okay? So, please videotape yourselves doing this, videotape your kids doing it, send it in to us, post it on all of our social media. We'll send you back feedback, tell you what you see, things you can help work on, all that kind of stuff, all right? Stay safe, guys. Thanks.